There's a lot of humour in them. I hope there is anyway, but I hope it's subtle humour, in the same way as the books have a lot of humour. The short stories actually contain, I think, perhaps more humour than the big long stories, where she gets really involved in the plot. But all the humour is of eccentricity. My humour, for example, the humour of Poirot, is always of eccentricity or situation, where he finds himself with the sort of people that he finds himself talking to and that sort of thing.
Firstly, I am not a bloody little frog. I am a bloody little Belgian.
Whenever I do those comedy moments, I remember, don't let them laugh at, make them laugh or smile with. And that's off his eccentricity. You must never see me, the actor, telling you I'm being funny. One particular episode I remember is called The Veiled Lady. A wonderful performance with Francis Barber in that one. But Poirot has to get into disguise because he actually takes on the role of a burglar. I won't spoil the plot or anything like that, but he does it. He gets in disguise. And, oh, the amount of discussion of what would he wear, what would he not wear, what would he wear. It had to be real. Well, of course, seeing Poirot in disguise is funny anyway, but it mustn't be a costume that commented on that.
Naturally.
Poirot's moustache actually drooped. I think it's the only time you ever see it down. And once again, must not be commented on. But I've got so many letters saying that people loved that episode because they laughed and they laughed and they laughed. And of course, the great thing about it was I didn't know I was being funny.
You should be round the side.
Comment?
You're not selling onions, are you?
I am the locksmith. I specialize in burglar-proof locks.
You better come in.
Thank you.
Wipe your feet.
I think it's very important to bring out the humour in the right way because they're not whodunits, they're howdunnits. How Poirot solves the murder. You all know, you've all seen the murder. There's no mystery about the murder. In the end, it's how did he find out who? Because nobody else can. It's not just any detective, it's this quirky little Belgian.
Charming.
With the funny moustaches and the egg-shaped head. It's the man who can't eat eggs given to him if they're not exactly the same size, whose the speck on his shoulder is as full to him as a bullet wound. He once wore a watch instead of a fob around his waist, and he couldn't make it work. It's these characteristics: his hot chocolate at night, his muffler around his neck, his sneezing, his colds, his hypochondria. It's all this that are both amusing, delighting the audience, delighting the reader, who can smile and laugh and then be drawn right in when he uses his famous little grey cells.
Enfin, let us employ the little grey cells.
Oh, it looks so easy now, doesn't it? I get it. It was hours and days and weeks and weeks and weeks. And it's all right having a dossier like that about the character, but in a sense, it's terrible having a dossier like that about the character, because every page is filled with characteristics. And I didn't want just to get a paintbrush and just paint on that little man. I didn't. I wanted to become his shape. So before we started shooting, I would drive them crazy with costume fittings, padding fittings. I was developing his eye. I would say, no, that side of the jacket is 1 millimeter longer than the other side of the jacket. And they'd look at me and go, what? And I'd say, no, it is. It's not right. It's not right. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be this, that, and the other. And it had to be right.